I wonder who lives in here. Now, I'm not going to lie, the avian flu lockdown in the UK is really starting to get to me. I just want the chickens to be out, so I'm hating having them locked up in the pasture shed and then in these little hutches. It's a lot more work because obviously you have to clean them out constantly, and chickens should be out and about and scratching, so having them shut away in these coops is really frustrating. Now, if you didn't know, there is a UK national lockdown at the moment for bird flu. So we've had avian flu spread across the country, and as a result of that, all chicken keepers have had to shut their chickens inside, and they're not allowed out at all. Now, I had hoped that it would be over soon because I hadn't had any DEFRA notifications to say more cases had happened until last week when I got 2 cases that are up in Scotland. With any luck, it will be over mid-March to April time, and then my darling chickens can come back out, scratch around happily without fear of getting the avian flu. Well, this is a market garden in winter. There's nothing to see. The snow has revealed the beds, luckily. This is the flower bed that I have started. I did notice at home today my straw flowers and my cornflowers are just starting to germinate, which is really, really good. So they'll be going in. Obviously the ranunculus will be going in here as well. And the sweet peas were in this shed being protected. I've just moved them round to here. I still have to prick these out, but we've got the sweet peas growing. They have got a little bit leggy. I'm just waiting for them to recover. This week we're not supposed to have any frost, so I'm just leaving them out on here all week to acclimatise, and then I will pinch some shoots out. They were originally on the floor, but then I had a sudden thought that rabbits. And why rabbits? Because they've eaten everything in my market garden. So I did put in some sacrificial crops last year, some spinach, some kale, some lettuce and some chard. This was a row of spinach, of lettuce, sorry, and when the thick snow was here, there was snow everywhere apart from here, because this is where the rabbits were pushing through and eating all of the lettuces. There is a little bit of chard and there is a little bit of lettuce that has survived, but not a lot. But it doesn't matter because they were sacrificial crops. They were put in to kind of see how the climate is here, how the position is here, how the pests are, and it's proved to me that yes, I'm definitely going to need electric fencing around this to stop the bunnies. And also we've had a really harsh winter, harshest winter in ages. So it's not surprising that the crops have failed. So the main planting out of stuff isn't going to happen till May because that's our last frost date. But in the meantime, I'm going to be working my way along here with the cardboard and the compost to extend all the beds as far as possible. I will, if the weather stays nice, probably direct sow some stuff. So I might direct sow some beets and some radishes and things like that outside. But the main crops won't be going in until sort of mid-May-ish when the frost is over. And that's when we'll be doing our seedling sale too. So in the pheasantry, our battle against rats continues. I did manage to kill off loads and I did have to turn to poison, which I hate, but I had to just get rid of them because I was watching my Reolink camera up there and I could just see rats everywhere. So we're still battling them, and this is partly due to a mistake by myself in the rush to get these aviaries up. So when we were doing it, we put in some concrete foundations, but we only put them around 2 sides because when we started digging it out, this area was laden with roots, and we also really badly underestimated the slope that it was on. So we were going through vast amounts of concrete. So we concreted this side and we concreted that side, and no rats have got through there at all. However, the sides we haven't concreted, we've just got blocks along the bottom, and the rats just dig straight underneath. So I've been digging wire foundations in all around, and I think we have stopped them to some degree. However, last night I watched a rat on the camera and it literally just pushed straight through that wire. So it must have been a younger one that just squeezed straight through. So it's going to be an ongoing battle, I think. But the birds are happy, so that is the main thing. Over at the lookout where we are heading now, not a vast amount has changed. And that's largely because I haven't got the goat fencing yet. Until I get the goat fencing, there is literally no point me planting anything because it will get eaten. So here's the goat's cabin, and the goat fencing will go that side. And then where these white posts are is where our buddleia hedge will go. I have got a load of buddleia cuttings now on the go, but again, there's no point putting them in before the goats can be contained. The same with the willow dome, which is going to go here, and then the same with the plants in front. So I'm going to let this, I planted tulips, I'm going to let this grow up and become kind of a little grassy meadow, but within it I'm going to plant geums, hollyhocks, daisies, and have kind of an ornamental flower meadow. But there's just no point doing it because the goats will eat it. Also along this edge, so this is the edge that goes into our pit. Which, as you can see, is super flooded right now. There's going to be fencing along here as well, and that's going to be planted with herbs, so rosemary, lavender, some sage, and then some wild rose types as well. Again, no point doing it until the goats are contained, so nothing really has happened here, but that is the plans for this area, and that will be happening over the next couple of months. I am also still having a major dither about my roadside stand. I'm probably overthinking it, but the road that runs alongside us is super busy, and there isn't a verge really. As you can see, it's just, there's a ditch, there's trees, and then it goes straight onto the road. There isn't, you know, like some properties have a bit of a roadside grassy verge. The problem is there is a big, quite tight corner up that end, and so the view is restrictive. So I'm worried. It's a very busy road, which is great for us in terms of passing traffic, but I'm worried about the safety of drivers coming along, pulling in, and then getting back out. So I think what I'm going to have to do is certainly take down probably all the trees from here up to that corner. I'm not going to take that sycamore down, but I'm going to prune it. And that will just mean that the visibility along here is a bit clearer. I'm also going to have to, I think, extend this driveway. So when we had the new fencing put in, we had the gate set back from the road so you could pull a vehicle off safely. There isn't space to turn round though. So for me, for example, coming onto the property, it's fine. I can pull off, I can open my gate, I can lock it behind me, and I can turn around in the field. For people just pulling off to buy stuff, they're either going to have to back out onto the road, which I don't even know if that's legal. I don't think it is to back out onto a main road. Or they're going to have to just kind of pull in at the side, but you can see it's not that wide. So what I'm thinking of doing is where there's some ditch here, is filling that in a bit to make a larger pull-in spot for people. Because the other option is to have a signpost and have people actually come up the drive. Now, coming up the drive isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially once we're established, because it means people can come off the road, they can turn into a decent driveway, they can pick up the stuff they want, and then they can leave. The problem at the moment is we don't have an established name, so it's better to have your produce and your flowers down by the road so they can actually see what you're selling. We also don't have a driveway up there. We just have a single track again, which is difficult to turn around on. So ideally, I either want to make that bigger, or I want to create a proper sort of circular bit of a driveway up there where people can turn round. Now I have time to think about it and consider the options, because realistically I'm not going to have anything for sale until April, May time. The first things will be seedlings, and I'm actually considering, if you know, because of the pandemic, delivering them within a certain area, and also I can give people will order them, and I can give people better directions to come to the farm. So I need to think about it carefully. And this is the area the drive could be. So here's our barn, and then we've got an entrance here. So I could fence off a section around here and hardcore it, road plane things in, and people could just have a stand here, people could come in, turn around, etc., and go up and down the drive quite safely. Now it is our driveway, so I don't have to worry about right-of-ways and things. But again, as I say, it's more difficult because it wouldn't catch the passer-by. People would be coming here on purpose rather than driving down the road, seeing some fresh veg and flowers by the roadside and grabbing them. So there's pros and cons of both options, and I really need to consider which is going to work best and which is going to be safe. With the sheep, there's nothing really that new. The 2 rams and Connie are still here, and the 2 ewe lambs are over there. And they've been behaving, which probably means, now I've said that, they will all get out. And we are still on Connie watch, so we are waiting to see when she's going to give birth, which is probably going to be 8 weeks. I will link a video up here to where we talked about that, and you guys are actually saying and guessing your dates of when she might give birth. So we'll see who gets it right. But they're pretty happy at the moment. Hello. The one thing I did notice the other day was Monty has got a huge lump on his nose. I don't know whether it's because he banged it, it's swollen, or whether it's because he's finally growing into his rammy self. Mons, I'm going to show your nose. You can kind of see, he's got this big lump. However, the guy that I bought Monty from is one of the the founders of bringing the Norfolk Horns back from extinction, and he did say that ram lambs don't tend to do anything in their first year, and then when it hits the spring of their second year, they suddenly start growing and bulking up. So it's probably not a knock, it's probably actually his face filling out before his horns start curling around as well. So we'll keep an eye on it, but I don't think it's anything to worry about.
Got scratchy head.